We started last year with one goal in mind, and it's our goal every year, to help more people find and follow Jesus. It's as simple as that. Everything we do gets processed through that filter. Last year, we knew God was calling us to step out in faith in some pretty major ways so that could happen. 2019 was going to be a building year. And at the beginning of that year, we knew we were going to have to grow way beyond our capacity. And for all of that to happen, we needed miracles. Lots of miracles. We needed God to go before us. And that's exactly what happened. God went before us again and again. And we literally saw the kingdom of God advance in our city through our church. We launched the South Campus. What's up, Southside? And our student ministry exploded. Takeovers literally took off, and one nights were better than ever. We saw our biggest year for sisterhood and men's night. We wanted to grow spiritually, so we launched Right Now Media, and now we've got hundreds of people regularly interacting with great content right from their phones. We are growing deeper as a church. And we're also reaching more people than ever before. We saw more people come to Easter. We saw more people come to Tailgate. We put on Christmas Adventure, and we saw thousands of people from the community experience the real reason for the season. We gave our time, we gave our talents, and we also gave our treasure. We gave over $220,000 to missionaries and missions programs, local outreaches, and to those in need in our area. In addition to that, last year we raised over $293,000 in above and beyond giving through Kingdom Builders. We're literally building God's kingdom here in Kansas City and around the world. God is so faithful. Best of all, we saw 457 people make decisions for Christ last year. That is incredible. And 107 people took next steps in their faith and got baptized. It's just simply amazing, and it's really what our church is all about, helping people find and follow Jesus. If 2019 taught us anything, it's that when we step out in faith, God responds, and He shows us how good He really is. As great as all of that is, God isn't done. There's so much more that He has in store for us, and there's so much more that He has in store for you. And that's what Vision 2020 is all about. We're looking forward and believing God for all that He has for us. You know, in Jesus' most famous sermon, the Sermon on the Mount, He gives the byproduct of all the goodness that He is doing in our lives. He says this, "Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." The fact that Jesus uses the word light is pretty interesting, because one light in a dark place can make a really big difference. The light from the sun is powerful. It brings warmth. It brings life. Literally, without light, you can't have life. I have to think that that's what Jesus is talking about in Matthew chapter 5. When we let our light shine, we literally push back the darkness in this world, and we fill it with the life of God. One light, while productive, can only shine so bright. But when all of us come together, think about the difference we can make. Think about how bright we can shine. That is what the church is supposed to be. This is Vision 2020. In 2020, we want to build community like never before. Over the years, we've seen exponential growth on the weekends and through events. But as we grow larger, we've always wanted to grow smaller at the same time. God made us to be in relationship so that we can encourage each other, to walk together, to experience the good and the bad with each other. We say it a lot because we mean it, but we really, literally are better together. In Genesis, God said, it's not good for man to be alone. From the very beginning, he says mankind is best when we live in community. You can also see it in the early church as well. From the very beginning, they got together in community. In Acts, it tells us this: every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. They enjoyed the favor of all the people right from the beginning. The early church understood how important community was. Building true community with one another and being in relationship with God helps us grow in our faith. And as we do that, we're going to reach more people. The verse said, and the Lord added to their number those who were being saved. So in order to grow larger, we have to grow smaller. In order to accomplish this great mission from God, we've got to build better relationships. We have to be a light to each other. Here is how we will grow in community in 2020. For both our men's and women's ministry at Summit Park, we want a community where guys and girls are getting together and growing in relationship. Because we know when we get together, we will grow together and become all that God wants us to be.
We need each other. Girls, if you're not in a life group, I want to encourage you to get in one. Life groups are huge, and that's one of your first steps for connection. A life group, it's where you can pray for one another, support each other, encourage one another, and build strong friendships with other girls.
Guys, the same is true for us. We want every guy in a group. You can get in the men's group before you go to work, after you get off work. You can get on one of our sports teams. But here's the deal. When you get with other guys, you're going to be able to share. You're going to be able to open up. You're going to be able to encourage each other. And I promise you this, you are going to find a new level of growth in your life that you've never experienced before.
We're going to be introducing something this year called Sisterhood Socials. Our Sisterhood Socials are where girls will get together for a time of fellowship and fun. So be on the lookout for when one of these socials will be happening for your group.
Guys, we're already doing something called takeovers, where we take over a coffee shop or a restaurant, get together, build relationships with each other. Whether it be our men's or our women's events, we can't wait to see how God uses this new emphasis on groups to build our church this year.
The 18 to 35 age group is one of the most important demographics in our culture. There's so much that happens during this season of life. People are going to college, choosing their career, and building lifelong relationships. With that being the case, this year we are launching our very own young adult ministry here at Summit Park. In addition to that, we want every teenager that graduates from our student ministry to continue to feel like they're building strong community with others their age. So every month, we're going to be hosting young adult hangout nights as well as a service just for them. Our goal in 2020 is to help every person between the ages of 18 and 35 grow in their relationship with God and grow in the relationships with each other. We can't wait to see what God does through this ministry in 2020.
Once my heart was given to Jesus, I knew that I was going to need a lot more. Getting involved with people and having a relationship with folks was going to be important for me to continue. I was invited to go to a men's group, and at first I was really apprehensive about that. I didn't know what to expect and whether or not that would be something for me. The invitation was from a friend who I met in the church, and so I went. From the moment that I stepped foot into that house, everything that I thought I knew about my faith started to change. Really, for me, being part of a community required me to contribute, and it was hard to understand that contribution until I was able to actually be accepted as who I was amongst other men. And there's a certain vulnerability that comes with that, and that vulnerability is what changed my heart and made it easy for me to accept the church as my own. Today, right, I look at Summit Park with my family as our home. And contributing isn't just holding doors and, high-fiving people at church, which is awesome. It's getting in community with people by sharing my testimony. And it's so rewarding. Each time I'm reminded of how awesome it is to be in community with new Christians or Christians that have been Christians for a long time. And I would recommend it for anyone.
"2020 Vision starts with us being a light to each other, but it always culminates with us being a light to the world. God has blessed us in incredible ways, and He wants to use us to be a blessing to the world around us. Here's how you can be a light through the ministry here at Summit Park.
Mark 12:30 tells us the greatest commandment is to love God, and the second is to love our neighbors. So in response, we began our Love Your Neighbor initiative. Love Your Neighbor creates opportunities for us to show God's love to our local and global neighbors. It is made up of 3 different ministries: local outreach, global teams, and fostering hope. The whole point of Love Your Neighbor is to help you be the church. We want to give you the opportunity to be the light to the world around you. You can join a global team or serve at a local outreach. Ty Hester, our global team coordinator, and Aaron Dixon, our local outreach coordinator, can tell you how to get involved in Love Your Neighbor.
Local outreaches give us the opportunity to partner with nonprofit organizations in the Kansas City metro area to serve those in need in our community. Each month, we work with organizations like Shelter KC, Habitat for Humanity, Harvesters, and Coldwater, and that's just to name a few. The amazing thing about the local outreaches that we do is that while you're helping make a difference for others in your community, you're also making a difference for yourself.
And joining a global team gives us the opportunity to show the love of Christ to our neighbors around the world. Not only do we get to see and experience another culture, but we also get to see how God is moving in the global church. We want everyone at Summit Park to join a global team.
Last summer, I played football with a group of boys at Coldwater, just right down the street from the church here. This was the summer barbecue that we held for our backpack drive. The looks on their faces just from the simple interaction and the conversation that I had with them reminded me of how important it is to show up to these events with these kids and these families.
We want to show up locally and we want to show up globally. In 2020, we will be traveling to the LA Dream Center, Spain, Albania, and the Dominican Republic. There are still spots available for this summer, so consider how God could use you in His global mission this year.
Know this, you can be a part of making a difference in Kansas City and around it.
One very important way we will continue to be the light is by creating more room for people to experience the light. As a multi-site church, that will always look like adding campuses in other areas of our city. Lord willing, places like Blue Springs, Independence, Raymore, Belton, Harrisonville, Warrensburg, and beyond. We're praying for God to continue to open doors so that His light can shine in greater ways in these communities. As we do that, we want to expand our base here in Lee Summit. We love both our current North and South campuses. The spaces have served us well, but as great as they are, given our current growth patterns, we will soon find ourselves out of room again. So eventually we're going to need more space if God does all that we believe that He's going to do in and through our church. So my prayer is that we will have a place of our own that will be large enough to house everyone that attends a Lee Summit campus. This will give us a greater base to launch other campuses out of, allowing us to reach more people in the most effective way. So we're praying that God helps us find land or a building with room to grow. We've been praying about this as a leadership team, and now I'm asking you to begin praying about it. We don't know all that God has in store, but we know that He will lead us as we are faithful to pray. In the meantime, if I can be completely honest with you, the 10 o'clock service at our North Campus is the current lid for our church. It's usually about 85% full, but on busier weekends, it's over 100% full. Honestly, as a pastor, it's disheartening to see people come into a church only to have trouble finding a seat. You never know what they went through just to get to church. And now you have to watch them having trouble finding a seat. Honestly, it's one of the hardest things about being a part of a growing church. So I'm asking you to pray about making room so that other people can find and follow Jesus. You can help us shine the light by attending either the 8:30 or 11:30 service at North or the 9 or 10:30 service at South. Just regularly attending one of those services will create more room for others. Plus, it's going to give you more elbow room while you're worshiping or taking notes, and who doesn't love some more elbow room? Thanks in advance for helping us better shine the light.
So we've been attending Summit Park Church for about 3 years when the South Campus opened. As soon as we started going there, we just felt at home again. We had that same Summit Park feeling, but in a place that was closer and more comfortable for us.
So after seeing Scott live every Sunday, we were a little apprehensive about seeing it on video, but it turns out it's exactly the same. It's the same message, it's the same people, same coffee, same donuts.
We have the added bonus of a lot of family there with us. So we get to walk in and be greeted by a brother-in-law and have a sister serving coffee and another sister on the creative team. We've built our community and it's just been a game changer for our family.
I would encourage anybody that's thinking about trying out South Campus to go ahead and take the next step and give it a try.
One critical way we push back the darkness is through Kingdom Builders. It's our above and beyond giving, and it literally is the vehicle by which God is building His kingdom in Kansas City and around the world. You can look at your 2020 Vision Guide for a full list of our Kingdom Builders partners, but here are a few I'd like to highlight for this year.
Hey Summit Park, I'm Kelsey Green, and I'm blessed to be on staff with Mother's Refuge. Mother's Refuge is a homeless shelter for pregnant and parenting young moms and their babies right here in the Kansas City metro. Since 1987, we've provided shelter and assistance to more than 1,800 young women who have chosen life for their babies. Most young moms who arrive at our home have not received prenatal care and have no family support. Many have experienced abuse and are part of a vicious cycle of poverty. We work to restore hope and empower these young moms to rise above their circumstances for themselves and for their babies. One of my favorite stories is about a sweet mom named Allie. Allie was literally living in a tent under a bridge and eating food out of dumpsters. She was using drugs and in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend. When she found out she was pregnant, she moved to Mother's Refuge. Here, she was able to remain drug-free, cut ties with her abuser, and even went back to school and graduated with her GED. I'm proud to say that Allie gave birth to a healthy baby boy, and she's an amazing mother. Young moms like Allie are why Mother's Refuge exists. It's about spreading the love of God and being the hands and feet of Jesus in our community. Because of your giving, stories like Allie's are a possibility. Thank you to Summit Park and to Kingdom Builders. With your support, we are believing that the best is truly yet to come.
Hi, I'm John Bongiorno, and I have the privilege of working with World Serve International. We provide water to needy communities, predominantly on the continent of Africa. I'm so delighted to be able to talk about one of the communities that Summit Park Church has helped us with. It's among a group of people called the Datoga. They're pastoralists. They just raise livestock, their cows, their sheep, their goats, their donkeys. And one of the greatest needs among the Datoga was for clean water. 5 out of every 10 of their children were dying before the age of 5 due to waterborne illness. And we were able to partner with Summit Park Church to drill 2 community water wells in one particular area and plant 2 churches. Someone else came alongside, another nonprofit organization, and now we built 2 schools in this community. So we have children receiving clean water, we have children now able to go to school, and we have planted 2 churches in these communities, and people were able to worship God. So thank you, Summit Park Church, for this partnership, There's a lot to be done. That's just one example of the needs on the continent of Africa. And we look forward to continuing to partner with you as we bring a cup of cold water in Jesus' name.
Hey, we're Chris and Ashton Myers, and we are starting Rio City Church in San Antonio in the fall of 2020. We were a part of Summit Park really from the very beginning, back in the portable days in 2013. And the last several years for us have just been amazing. But recently, we feel like God has been stirring our hearts to plant a church. And San Antonio just kind of kept coming up. And as we looked at San Antonio, we realized that there's over 2.5 million people that call San Antonio home. And the city is really one of the fastest growing cities in America today. And it's projected to grow another 1.1 million people in the next 15 to 20 years. And for us, we just thought, man, what an opportunity. There's tons of people who need a life-giving church, just like Summit Park Church.
And 78% of the population are not in a Jesus-centered church. We want to start a church that helps reach the people in San Antonio. One thing we know is that Rio City will be a diverse church. The Hispanic culture is very prevalent. In fact, that's where the name Rio City comes from. The city is built around a river that runs through the city, and river is Rio in Spanish. So to each culture in the city, we want to provide the gospel to them in a way that they can understand.
So we believe this, whether that be through our weekend services, our small groups, or outreaches to our city, all of this will be to help people find life in Jesus. We know this is where God has called us to be, and we cannot thank you enough for your support and your prayers as we reach the people of San Antonio.
Okay, so that's how we are going to be the light in 2020. Are you ready? Are you with me? Are you ready to see God do more in your life than ever before? Are you ready to see God do more through your life than ever before? Then get ready to step into your yes. The calling is great and way beyond us, but with God's help, the possibilities are limitless. Here's the reality. You never know how many people's lives will be transformed by you simply saying yes to what God has for you. Whether it's serving, giving, going on a trip, or joining a group, joining a team, your step shines a light. It pushes back the darkness and it glorifies our Father in heaven. So what step will you take in 2020?